These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Friday, July 19th. We're talking about Summer League a little bit. Got a little bit of other Celtics stuff, some NBA stuff. It's kind of a weird point of the year because there's not a lot of stuff to talk about outside of Summer League. And once Summer League ends, then we're really cooked. Then there's really not going to be anything to talk about. But we got one more game and Summer League recap to sort of squeeze the juice out of Summer League. And then we're going to be cooking. Sam, how you doing?
I've had better days.
Yeah.
I've had better days. You'll hear about it later, but I'm happy to be here. Happy to be behind the mic. Happy to be a part of the show. We'll have some fun Summer League stuff that has not yet been recorded for you. I guess none of the show's been recorded yet, but we have to record it later on because the game is later in the day. But lots of stuff going on, so got to make sure we record when we can. Some fun NBA rumors going around. Lauri Markkanen, little trade to announce some Summer League stuff. And yeah, Cooper Flagg and the Rattlers.
Cooper Flagg.
Don't want to miss it.
It'll be a good show. We're actually going to throw it over to Future Us because we're going to talk about Celtics Summer League tier list, but we're recording this before the Celtics game. And you'll see that recap yesterday if you want to see a recap of the Celtics. Who are they playing? They playing a team again?
Dallas.
Mavericks, yes. Celtics Mavs Summer League. That recap was on the channel yesterday, so you can go check out our thoughts on that game. But we're going to recap the Celtics Summer League in general, right now. Put all the players in the tier list based on. We'll figure it out if we're doing performance or likely to get a contract, something like that. I think just how good we think they played relative to their expectations, and that'll be the tier list. So we'll put that in the show right now. Editing Jack here. Sam and I recorded this a couple days ago because Sam is headed on vacation, and we forgot that the Celtics have a consolation game. So we treated this as if it was the Celtics' last Summer League game, and we tier list the player performances for the entire Summer League. It's too late to re-edit the whole thing because it's a huge chunk of the show, so we're going to leave it in there, and then I'll just do a recap of the Celtics-Sixers game on Sunday as an extra thing, but the content stays the same, so if people perform better or worse to change their rank in the Sixers game, so be it, but enjoy this. We're sort of just recapping the player performances through the first 4 games, which we thought were the only 4 games because we're dumb. But yeah, enjoy the show. All right, so Celtics Summer League is officially over. Wrapped up with a loss to the Charlotte Hornets. We covered that game on our video yesterday. If you'd like to check it out, go check it out. It's up on the YouTube channel right now. But we're going to talk about how every single player played relative to expectations. We're going to do it in the form of a tier list. Now, context, again, I said it, but I'll double down and explain. The context of the tier list is how well the player formed relative to expectations, not will they get a contract with the Celtics? Not, will they, be in the league next year? It's how well they performed relative to how we thought they performed and what we were expecting of them. So if, I'll use a random example. If Ron Harper is above Neemias Queta in the tier list, which I don't think he will be, then that is not saying Ron Harper is better or is likely to have a contract more than Neemias Queta. It's saying, based on what we expected of Ron Harper, he did better than Neemias Queta because we had higher expectations for Queta and lower for Harper. Again, it's not going to happen. But we can go down the line here. Let's start. You know what? I'm going to go to the Celtics Summer League stats page and we'll do it based on who got the fewest minutes first. And then we'll do up to the most minutes just so we have some semblance of order here and we're not just going randomly. So for the Celtics, if I can sort by team here, that'd be phenomenal. Maybe I can't. Can I not start by team? In stats on Real GM? Okay, yeah, I can. Here we go. We'll do total minutes. Fewest total minutes played in Summer League for the Celtics was Mr. Tristan Enaruna. 12.8 total minutes. I don't think this is including today's game, and so whatever. But only played 13 minutes in Summer League up until today's game against the Hornets. It's unfortunate that these stats aren't reflected with the Hornets game, or the Mavericks game, I should say. What can you do? But he didn't play amazing in that one either. Only played 15 minutes, 1 or 2 from the field, 3 points. Overall, in Summer League, before the final game, Tristan Enaruna only averaged, I can't even see, 2 points a game. Didn't play much. I think we expected a lot more from him. I also don't think it's necessarily his fault because he didn't really get the playing time. I would probably throw Tristan Enaruna in. Is he not on here? Did I forget? Is that the one guy I forgot a picture for? That's phenomenal.
Oh,
no, he's right here. He's
right
right here.
there.
He's right here. He's just in a Kansas jersey, and I wasn't used to that. I'd say D tier. He just didn't play. Maybe C tier if you want to bump it up because that's not his fault. But we were expecting, I think, decent things. I think he was B or A in terms of how we wanted to see, how much we wanted to watch him, and then he didn't play at all. So, any disagreement there?
No, I mean, we all thought he was going to actually play when we went to the first couple of games out there, and he wasn't getting in. That was one of the first things that we mentioned on the post-game pods. We were like, wait, why is he not playing? We thought it was maybe like a weird ploy for them not to show anything too much since they'd already invited him out to training camp. But ultimately, he didn't get much opportunity by presumably the end of it. I think there might be one more game that gets scheduled just as like a consolation game. But he really didn't get any opportunity. And when he was out there, he didn't really do anything that made you be like, oh, wow, yeah, that's why they brought him in. So I think D tier is pretty fair. We all expected something more exciting to see some sort of skill that's like, oh, wait, that would be fun to have on the end of the bench. And instead, we just kind of saw him like scoring off cuts when he actually did score.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's not completely Tristan Enaruna's fault because he just didn't get the time. But what are you going to do? Next fewest minutes played, according to this, is we'll go Tyler Cook next, 9.9 per game. Played a little bit more in the final one. Didn't do too much. I thought he looked okay in his minutes. Didn't look as good in the Mavs game as he did in the Hornets, or excuse me, the Hornets game. I'll go. I still don't think it's worthy of B tier. I'll go C tier because I do think he was a little bit better than expected. I think he was the lowest one on our excited to watch tier list, but you can see why he's not quite getting those NBA opportunities. He's a solid player. It's just nothing really jumps off the page.
Well, he did get an A+ in game one. Don't you forget that. But yeah, he didn't really get a lot of run until the back two games. I will say when he was out there, I actually thought he was a little bit better than we all thought he might be.
Yes.
A good fit in terms of low usage guy who can play big as an undersized guy, definitely has the strength and size to do so. He does a pretty good job of passing the ball. I don't think that's something we had on our radar heading in. And again, his will on the offensive glass is pretty impressive. I might even slot him at B tier. I don't think that means he gets a roster spot with the Celtics. I don't think it means he gets a two-way. He may get some interest from another team, or he may end up playing in the G League, whether it's Maine or somewhere else. But I think he should have some hope for his NBA career. Like, I don't think he should have to go overseas again. Like, he's pretty impressive in this summer league, which is kind of the culmination of all guys that aren't necessarily on NBA rosters, or at least getting legitimate minutes in the NBA.
We can move him to B tier for now. I thought he was okay. I don't. We'll see. Maybe we'll see if we have to move him down. But next up, we can rock with Ron Harper Jr. Played all right. Again, I don't really want to read too many of these stats because it doesn't reflect the last game as well. And especially in the case of Ron Harper Jr., he played well in the Mavs game, 11 points, 4 9, 3 6 shooting. Didn't do much up until that point, was pretty inefficient, couldn't hit a 3 to save his life. He brought it back in the last one. I still think it was a pretty underwhelming. Maybe this is the first guy we throw in that C tier. I don't think he was quite as disappointing as Tristan Enaruna, especially considering he got a lot more minutes. But it didn't really deliver. It didn't feel like he was a super negative the whole time, even though the plus minus might reflect that. But it did just not feel like he jumped off the page. But I think the last game brought him up from D to C.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably right around where you expected. I don't think coming in we had a ton of excitement about him. We thought he'd be solid, like decent body to fill in at a guard spot, decent size, but his shot probably looked a little bit worse than we thought it was going to up until this last game. Much like with Killian Tilly, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, he was coming off an injury leading into Summer League. He hadn't played in a game since, I think, January, he said. So it's been the longest time he had played or gone without playing his entire life. It took him some time to get up to speed, but I don't really know if he did enough to really make you be like, oh, yeah, love him on two-way. Love him for a final roster spot. Like, it didn't feel like that quite yet.
He'd go to Maine. I wouldn't complain if he was in Maine, but it's just like, meh.
Yeah, correct. he just doesn't have any skill that really is yeah, that's something I can see them using him for. Like, he's just kind of solid at everything, but solid in on a level that's slightly below the NBA level.
Yes, I agree. At least for now. We'll see. He's got time. He's young enough. I think he's only 22, 23. Let's go to, let's see. I'm just kind of picking now. Let's go to Killian Tilly next. Played all right. Had probably his best game of Summer League in the last one against the Mavs. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 5 of 10, 2 of 5. Up until that point, was averaging just under 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks, shooting 44-40. So pretty good from that perspective. I was pleasantly surprised with Killian Tilly. I think he played better than I thought, especially considering he's missed the last 2 years while dealing with some injuries. I don't know if I'd put him in the A tier. It almost feels like we should do Tyler Cook down and C with Ron Harper and then give Killian Tilly the B tier so we can start
I think
there.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I just think Tilly was really solid in multiple ways that could be helpful towards the Celtics or another NBA team. Like, especially with Porzingis being out probably till Christmas, having an extra big body on the roster wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. This is somebody who can shoot the 3 ball and protect the rim at a decent rate. Now, he's no Porzingis, but he's someone that they can throw in there to have a more versatile rotation of big guys. It almost feels like the Celtics are going to be playing a bullpen game with their center position, like the equivalent of not running out a starting pitcher in the MLB and just pitching relievers. That feels like what they're going to do. So with that being said, they could use a guy that's stretching the floor that's not Al Horford. However, there's another guy on this list who's probably better suited to do so. So I think we see Tilly up in Maine if he's going to be wearing any kind of green next year.
I agree. I think B tier is very fair for him. Next up, we'll go to Jalen House. Really popped off in the last 2 games, started getting some more minutes in his final game with the Mavs, played 31-51, second most on the team, 18 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds, 7 of 19 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, played with great energy, good defender, just small, and it's going to happen when you're that small. For what it's worth, I interviewed him for an upcoming story, eyes emoji, keep an eye out for that. He's listed at 6'1", and he plays a lot bigger than that, and he might not be that big. I'll say that. But he's a beast. He's one of the most competitive dudes on the floor. Gave a nice shimmy in that Mavs game. Relative to expectations, I think Jalen House deserves an A tier. I think was really impressive to me on both ends of the floor. Maybe you want to bump him down to B with Tilly because he wasn't particularly efficient, but I was very pleased with what I saw from Jalen House, and he should be their top main target, I believe, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Jalen House really stood out right from the get-go. Like, I know when the Lakers game was happening, you were kind of preoccupied with Jaylen Brown, which was the massive story of the day. So you have no reason to feel bad about that. But that was our first glimpse at him. And ever since he got out there, it was like, 1, oh my God, this guy has a ton of fire about him. And 2, he has great vision. He finished the game, I think, with nothing but a tech. But he had a couple of great setup passes that resulted in fouls.
I think he had a block,
really
too.
Out to me. In a block.
One block.
But just the overall grit that he played with really stuck out, and his vision stuck out. And I was like, wow, these are 2 things that you can keep in your back pocket of your house, and you're trying to get on a roster. Then we go forward, and we kind of see him in a bigger role, specifically in the Mavs game. He's the team's leading scorer. He took the most shots, but he was the leading scorer. He showed that he's absolutely fearless, and he's somebody who isn't afraid of anybody on either end of the floor. He'll guard a bigger player. He's not afraid of any matchup, and he'll go to the basket regardless of who's waiting for him. Being a smaller guy, he has to put on a little bit of muscle, I think, before he's ready for the NBA level. But with that being said, if he does so, I wouldn't be shocked if he finds his way onto a roster someday, just because of the mentality he carries, his ability to shoot the ball, and his mobility on defense. He should be somebody, if he gets bigger, who can play good minutes off the bench, almost in a Shane Larkin type way.
Yeah, I agree. There was somebody, I think Bill Sy tweeted it, a picture of him and Phil. I think, a picture of him and then Phil Pressey in the background on the bench. He just said missing from picture Shane Larkin. So you can definitely see the outline. Shout out Jalen House. He was really impressive to me. He might have been my favorite player to watch, if anything, if for nothing else, for selfish reasons. But next one up, we'll go let's do Jamias Ramsey next, and then we'll end with the rostered guys, or drafted / rostered guys. Jamias Ramsey was probably the biggest standout of Summer League on the Celtics roster who wasn't rostered. Ironically enough, didn't play in the final game, which we theorized in yesterday's video could mean he has an offer somewhere else, or the Celtics are going to bring him in or stuff like that, because otherwise he'd probably want to keep playing. In his 3 games, he only averaged 16 minutes per game. However, he finished third on the team in scoring at 14.7 points per game, and first among players who played in at least 3 games, for what it's worth. Shot 62.5% from the field, 63.6% from 3 on just under 4 attempts a game, 2.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 2.7 turnovers, which isn't ideal, but those were inflated by the Lakers game, I think it was, where he just had a rough start. I think relative to expectations, probably deserves to be in the S tier, top tier. He played really, really, really well. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. I remember my dad taking me to Fenway Park as a kid, getting to watch David Ortiz and Dustin Pedroia sitting in the Green Monster and taking in all there is to love about the iconic ballpark. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Taking a look at my Game Time app right now, I see plenty of great deals to watch my favorite sports teams and my favorite tickets to Noah Khan. You guys know that's my favorite artist. I even used it while in Las Vegas for Summer League to get tickets to a women's basketball game. Some of my favorite features in the Game Time app include letting me see what the price is going to be with fees included. It makes so much easier to take a look and see what the actual price I'm going to pay is. Also, you get to see exactly where you are sitting. It's a great way to know exactly the experience you're going to get. I also love the fact that you can get great last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, or anything else. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off.
Yeah, he played so well that we're like, what if they gave him a 2-way?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's somebody, you mentioned it, like going into the Summer League, we were like, well, he has a really complete game, but he can't really shoot threes that well. And when he does, they're kind of created shots and he's not playing an off the ball role. Well, when he played with the Celtics in Vegas, he shot the ball well, and he did it while just being a catch and shoot guy. Not only did he do that, he showed a willingness, a fearlessness to get to the basket, to finish through traffic, to not be afraid of bigger players. And he has the muscle to actually defend at an NBA level. I would not be shocked if the Celtics kept him around. He's somebody who low-key might give Springer some run for his money, even though I think Springer was really great in the one game he played. But overall, like, Springer's only
high praise from you. That's high praise from you.
It's just like thinking about his path forward. If the Celtics kept him around, like that would be what they do. Is like they kind of have him compete. Whoever wins, they can be the 4th string guy, maybe pick up a couple extra minutes when Drew Holiday's out here and there. Sure, I could see him sticking around. With that being said, like I still like Springer a lot. Thought Springer looked good. Think we should all be excited about him too. But Ramsey was a revelation. He gives the front office a little bit of a decision to make heading towards training camp for sure. S tier, nailed it.
Absolutely. We'll go Drew Peterson next up. Played all right. Got shut down after 2 games. Did he play in the Hornets game? I can't remember. Let me see. Did he play in the Hornets game? That is the question. He did not. Only played in 2 games. Didn't shoot particularly well from 3, but he shot much better in the second game and just really bad in the first game. Felt like somewhat of an underwhelming Drew Peterson Summer League. I'd probably go. I don't know if it's necessarily C tier. I'm between B and C. Sam, do you have thoughts?
I think he's C. It's right around like what you would have expected. He didn't really like exceed expectations in the way that you hope that most NBA guys would do. But he also wasn't really like a focal point for the Celtics. They did have him bring the ball up and handle the ball a little bit, but he didn't get the attention that Shireman got or Walsh got. They clearly were trying to get some more out of those guys, and I think they kind of know what they have with Peterson. He said it best. He just really needs to put muscle on and continue to shoot threes, and he'll probably be okay. And I agree with that. I still think he's in line to compete for the Hauser spot if it opens up down the line here. But in Summer League, with what we were expecting, I think he kind of was a little underwhelming, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially relative to expectations, because I think people wanted him to do a little bit more. Let's do Jaden Springer now because he only played in one game. S tier. Jaden Springer immediately. He was just completely dominated the game, was very clearly the best player on the floor, showed off a new 3-point shot. Was a little bit weird that he was laboring. I wonder if he was a little hurt, but it's the easiest S tier for Mr. Springer.
Yes. Man dominated in his one appearance. He did everything you could ask, played defense, shot threes, which is something we didn't know he had in the old bag. And he was the person initiating everything. He was putting pressure on the defense, getting inside. He was bumping guys and really just scoring every way possible. Like, I was so happy with what we saw with Springer. He had 6 assists, no turnovers. He was very careful with the ball, considering that he was doing everything. Like, that's no small feat. No turnovers with being one of the main guys, if not the main guy on the team. Shout out to Springer, man. Can't wait to see him play in the fall.
Absolutely, shout out to Springer. He was great. JD Davison, next up. I think he played pretty well. Shot the ball well from 3, which is probably the biggest thing. Didn't play in the final game, but through 3 games, shot 55.6% from 3, which is even better than I thought he shot. 59% from the field as well. 6 assists, 3 rebounds. It didn't feel like it was quite as impactful as you want, but all the stats were all great. I'd say A tier actually for JD Davison. I mean, I'm thinking back and it feels like a B tier, but there's not really anything that warrants that. It's just like the feeling. Like everything he did was good. Was a great playmaker. Maybe the defense wasn't ideal at times. He did turn the ball over a little bit too much, 3.3, but he did average 6 assists. Shot the ball from 3 well though, so I think that's the biggest thing. And since he shot the ball so well from 3, over 55%, 55.6% to be exact on 3 attempts a game, I think A tier's fair.
Yeah. I think you're
going to say B.
Well, I think there's some weight to your B tier take. And I agree with your reasoning where it's just like, well, I felt B tier, but the stats say A tier, but there is a reason why you feel B tier. I think that's just like the filler eye test stuff where this is a 3rd-year guy. He's going into Summer League. And while he was good, he wasn't like best guy on the floor, good, dominating games, good, the way you might expect somebody with his experience to be. And that's all good and fine. I don't think they should get rid of him. Like, I think he should continue to be a part of the Celtics organization. I think they could continue to develop him. There are things to be excited about. That 3-point shot coming along a little bit is something to hang your hat on. If you're JD, be like, look, I'm improving. Like, if I can make this, I could really be a fun piece for you. He really is more athletic than most guards in the league. So if he's able to be a consistent 3-point shooter, they can really get a lot of fun things out of him too, put him into games to be a good energy guy off the bench. And we did see some of that, but he just wasn't quite like at that same level. I think A is fair, but I'm just saying there is a reason why you're like, I didn't feel like he was as good as the stats. Well, it's just because you watched and like you weren't floored in the way you might have thought you might be.
Yeah, I think A is fair though. I don't think it was quite Springer or Jemias, but Davison still played really well. The 3-point shot coming around is so huge. Can't emphasize that enough.
It is.
Neemias Queta played in 2 of the 4 games, averaged 24 minutes a game, 21 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 assist, 64% from the field. A or S, Sam?
S. Neemi.
Okay. Neemi. Big time.
I could see the reasoning for A because that first game he came on here and bitched about him, but he played so well in the second game that they were like, shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
I think the shutdown is a clear indicator of S tier, even though JD got shut down, and we'll talk about some others. But I think Neemi was just so dominant. I think people should be excited about watching him heading into the season. I truly think he might be the most important player that played in the Summer League in terms of seeing where he developed, seeing what he can do. I was a little disappointed that they didn't have him shoot any jumpers. I think he works too hard on that not to at least try it in this setting. But going into the season, like they're going to need him. Porzingis is going to be out probably till December. He's going to have a huge opportunity in front of him to not only prove himself to the Celtics, but other teams beyond them if he, enters free agency next season and wants to be a real rotation player somewhere else. Not to say he couldn't do that with the Celtics, especially if he plays well. But last season we saw he didn't get a ton of burn, but when he did, he played pretty well. So if he keeps working hard, keep your eyes peeled on Neemi. He could be a big. step taker this year.
That was a really bad pause. I had to like keep my feet cemented to the floor for that one. I was about to talk.
That was
I
really
like,
good.
No,
That's good discipline.
Motherfucker. Let's do Jordan Walsh and we'll end with the rookies.
Okay.
Jordan
F.
Walsh. Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan.
I was considering D because he did do a much better job in the last 3 games of staying a little bit more poised, defending. But this dude is just completely his own head. And compared to the expectations where we had him at S tier and excited to watch, and you convinced me to go from A to S, like, man, he didn't make a single 3 in Summer League. Not one in 4 games. Not a single 3.
It's a real shame.
I just like so bad. It sucked to watch because Jordan handled it
painful
so
to
well.
watch.
But yeah,
it was painful because you could see it was affecting him. Like, the guy's 20 years old. The expectations surrounding him heading into the Summer League were sky high for good reason. Like, he played well up in Maine. When he actually got to play with the Celtics, he was a fun watch. Last year in the Summer League, he played well. Everybody thought going into this he was going to take a step up. People were going to see all the development that he had kind of taken on this year in Maine. And instead, he kind of looked like the same but worse, where he couldn't make any threes. And I do just feel for him because anytime you're out there and kind of have the yips or confidence problems, it's just not fun. Like, I guarantee you that dude had no fun in the last, 3 games of Summer League. After that first game happened, and he was the story because he was not only bad, but also, Moby Dick out there, sucks. Everybody was watching him from that point, and he just couldn't break out of the slump. So I hope, this next 2.5 months from now until the beginning of preseason gives him a little bit of a breather, and he comes back strong. Because he's someone going down the line you could see having a role on the Celtics, and that's why they picked him. That's why they put in development, but he clearly isn't ready just yet. And I think some of us thought he might be.
I worry that he might not.
Might not recover.
Yeah, not even recover. Just Baylor Sharman's already better than him, which is not an insane thing to say because obviously Jordan Walsh was the one and done in college. Baylor Sharman played 5 years of college. Obviously, of course you'd expect that. But if they're going to find wings like this who are very NBA ready, and we're talking about Jordan Walsh's ceiling as a high level bench 3-and-D guy, you could probably find that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't think the window is closed, and I still think they're going to invest heavily in him, especially because he's on a cheap guaranteed contract. But this was not a encouraging Summer League in the slightest. Maybe that's dramatic, but we'll see how it plays out. Who do you want to end with, Sam? Baylor or Anton? Who do you want to do next, and who do you want to end with?
I feel like we should end with Anton.
All right. Baylor Sharman then played well, played in all 4 games. In the final game against the Mavs, had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep. Prior to that, averaged 9.3 points a game, not very efficient, 31%, 24%, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, only 1 turnover a game, 1.3 steals as well. I think this was I'd say A tier. If you were going to come back and say B tier, I wouldn't complain. But I think A tier Summer League. I think he showed all the skills he needs to play in a complementary role in Boston. I think 3-point shot finally came around in that last game, and maybe he just had a bad shooting week, which happens. I think the passing is great. I think the rebounding is great. I think the defense needs some work, but that's absolutely something he can work on. So I think A tier for Baylor for me.
Yeah, I think his first stretch of games was pretty impressive. I think we got a good sample of all the different skills that he has. Clearly can score. He's definitely a good mover without the ball. He has the attributes of a shooter where not only the shot, but the movement, the know-how, the relocation, all of those things are going to be so important when he actually gets on the floor for him to be able to get good looks. And then on top of that, you see him be able to rebound and pass to his teammates in ways that they were literally having him play point guard in stretches in Game 4 against Dallas. He showed a willingness, an ability to make not only the right pass, but also difficult reads where he had to hit the second or third guy that you may instinctively think to pass to. That's no joke. And I just think that rebounding aspect of Shireman is far better than anybody thought it was going to be, despite the numbers telling you it was going to be good. It was more of a believe it if I see it thing, and we all got to see it. So I would like to see a little bit more consistent shooting from him, whether it's in Maine or in very, very streaky minutes for Boston. But besides that, I just think the rest of his game is going to allow him to have a long NBA career, whether or not it's here or not.
Yeah, I agree. And then lastly, Anton Watson, I'm going to say S tier for him preemptively, just to throw him up there because I think he deserves it. Absolutely awesome summer league for Anton Watson. Closed out on a 14.8 rebound, 2 assist game with 2 blocks as well, 5-11 from the field, 2-4 from deep. Really started unloading from 3 after those first 2 games. And through the first 3 games was averaging 10 points, 4.7 rebounds and 1 assist and 1.3 steals and 1 block on 54.5% shooting from field and 27.3% shooting from deep, and then brought that up even more in this one after shooting 2 of 4. Awesome defender. DJ McClay called him an NBA level defender, and he went out there and said, "Fuck yeah, I am." I think Anton Watson, like we all were talking about how, they're not going to fill that 15th roster spot. Anton's a lock for the 2A. After he's played in this game, you start thinking, like, should they just sign him to the 15th? Should they spend the money? I don't think they will. I think the more likely thing is he gets the 2A, and then by the time like they need to fill it or they decide to fill it, they'll fill it. And they don't have to the whole season anyways, but they could like later in the season to save the money on aggregate or whatever it's called, prorated salary. But Anton Watson rocked. He was probably the best 2-way player in Summer League, maybe only behind Springer and or Nemi, but if that's your bar for Summer League, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, man. I think much like Shireman, we just got to see how versatile of a game that Watson has. And both of those guys clearly were coveted by Brad because they can play. They can play without the ball. They can make the right play. They can make good decisions. They can put themselves in good positions to score. And Watson does such a great job of this by cutting, by hitting the offensive glass. He's a solid defender who makes good reads on the perimeter as well as inside. Like, this is somebody you should be excited about. I don't know how much time he's going to get, but there certainly is a window for him to climb through with Porzingis' injury. I don't think he's going to edge Nemi. I don't think he's going to edge Luke, but he could, in situations, actually get some extra burn. And if he does, look out because he might impress you. I would be curious to see him play against like a real NBA team. But from what sample size we saw in Summer League, he did a very good job of picking his spots, making it easy to play in a low usage situation for himself, and just being a good team guy. If you're the Celtics, that's just about everything you could ask for the 54th pick in the draft. Like, it's not often you get guys that even make the league, never mind people are like excited about. Granted, Summer League is a place for like fake excitement, so take it with a grain of salt. But from what we saw, there's just like a lot of like non-flashy things that you can be excited about for a real reason.
Like him and Shireman, what they did is seamlessly translatable to a role in Boston right now, which is super, super encouraging. That's how the Celtics drafted, and that's a good thing. Any final thoughts on Summer League, Sam?
No, I'm okay.
I think we're good. All right, we'll throw it over the rest of the show. All right, back from that, we're talking about Jayson Tatum briefly before we get into the NBA section. Not too much Celtic stuff, mostly Summer League today. But Mark Spears of Anscape caught up with Tatum at Team USA, asked him what it would be like to win a gold medal the same year he won a title. He goes, it would be a hell of a year, hell of a summer. I got no complaints. So the guys who won championships understand the feeling, what it's like and what it takes. Every time they see me, they say, what's up, champ? It's definitely good to hear that from your peers. Tatum, it's the same way how he like clutched the Larry O'Brien until he left for Abu Dhabi. Like, you live with this and you soak it in for as long as you can. He is always and forever going to be a champ now, and I think that's still kind of surreal to him. So it's fun to hear these things.
That's become the Celtic way. Everybody that's not a Celtics fan, all they do is bitch about how the 2008 team will never let you forget that they won one championship, and Tatum is carrying the mantle forward. No, in all seriousness, though, I think these guys absolutely should be happy of what they achieved. You know, it felt like a long time coming. It was a difficult road to get where they were at. And the sheer amount of relief that Tatum and his teammates are probably experiencing right now has to be unmatched. Like, they went through hell. They were under the most scrutiny. They were under the microscope by people like us for the entire year. And they went out and they took care of business. And people should be calling him champ. W.
He's champ. Shout out. Gold medal incoming, question mark? Probably. If not, there's a bigger problem that's gonna happen later this summer. But yeah, shout out
if
Tatum.
I had to pick one, I would pick the trophy.
Larry O'Brien, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
rather have that.
Tatum would too. I think they all would. Maybe not if you're Tyrese. I was gonna say Halliburton because I was picking somebody on a bad team, but the Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals, so I think he'd rather have the Larry too.
Maybe the best opponent in the playoffs.
Who had the worst year on Team USA? Because I was thinking like, oh, you jump to a Timberwolves or a Pacers, but both those teams were in the conference finals. It wasn't the Lakers because they
Embiid,
made the playoffs.
maybe Booker.
Did any of them miss the playoffs?
Did anybody miss the
Steph.
Steph did.
Are we missing anybody then? Well, Booker got swept. So that's, would you rather miss the playoffs or get swept?
KD and Booker on that team.
Yeah. I feel like somebody missed the playoffs and I can't remember who. I need to look. Maybe not. Maybe they all made the playoffs. So. Wow. That's weird. That's interesting.
Well, the Warriors definitely missed it. I mean, they lost the play.
No, they did. I meant outside of that. Good for them, man. Good for them. Good for Mark Few too. It's weird to see like a college coach on the staff, even though I know Coach K coached it for years, but like you see like Spoelstra, Ty Lue, and Steve Kerr, like, oh, and then it's like Mark Few, like, oh shit, like it's a real deal. But anyways, jumping into the emails here, I almost forgot to put the emails on the sheet, but that's another thing we need to do here. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. Again, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read the emails every single show, 3 times a week, I should say, if you're listening on audio platforms. We've got a few to catch up on here from a few of our longtime regular listeners. We appreciate you all. Starting with, as I try to share the screen, I'm rusty. I haven't shared emails in here in a long time. Starting with Jake, resting in the regular season. Jack and Sam, thinking of a lot of Celtics reporters and fans is that this year will be a lot more rest days for Drew. Obviously, Porzingis with his injury, and now hearing that this may also mean more rest for Tatum and Brown. Do you agree with this? And do you think it means that, one, Tatum will actually sit out? We always hear about how he hates to sit. If he's trying to prove he's an MVP candidate, he won't want to miss games. 2, Brown will rest. I don't remember the last time, other than when he had an injury, he took a night off. 3, Celtics and Joe won't care about the first seed. The first seed was super important, and in my humble opinion, thought it gave the extra motivation to the team not to take a foot off the gas that we've seen in previous years. Thanks. Shout out Joe or Jake. I mean, sorry, I don't think we've got an email from you before, so thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. I don't think Tatum and Brown will want to sit games. I don't think that's going to change next year. I still think they're going to want to play every game. I think Drew is really the only one who's going to get significantly more rest. I don't think Derek will take the nights off. I don't think Tatum or Brown will. Maybe it is Brad convinces them to more because they're comfortable that, okay, we've won a championship now. We can afford to take at least a little bit of nights off. And I don't think they're going to not care about the first seed. I think you might see like, oh, you know, we're not going to press too hard because we know what we can do in the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to like actively be like, yeah, we don't need the first seed. Like I still think they're going to push pretty hard.
Yeah, I think the seed is important. I completely agree with take number 3. I agree with you, Jack. I don't think Tatum and Brown will rest. They are both players throughout their entire careers who really don't miss a lot of time, and if they do, it's because they're legitimately injured. You never see a load management day for Tatum, except that one time it was Deuce's birthday, and everybody got mad because he took the game off. They were like, "What is this? You just take the day off for your kid's birthday?"
That was crazy. That's insane.
But like, even I think this year, like they rested him a little bit down the stretch, and like he wasn't pleased, or not like displeased, but obviously he would have liked to play every single game, and it's just not his character. He wants to be out there. He doesn't care. He gave the speech about Monday night in Charlotte, and you know, it doesn't matter if it's just a league pass game, somebody there paid to see you. So for Tatum, especially not, even though it would make sense with the sheer amount of work that he's doing, having played all the way through the finals and then playing for Team USA all the way till mid-August, I think it's going to be. So he'll have had a very long year of playing, but hopefully his body's in condition to deal with it. I think Holiday, like you mentioned, is really the only one that you're going to see a different type of workload next year. I'd imagine Derek White will stay the same. Brown, Tatum, same can be said for those two. Horford will probably have the back-to-back rests, and Porzingis will be coming off that injury. So overall, you won't see a whole lot of difference in the Celtics load management strategy, but Holiday will probably join the old boys.
At least a little bit. I still don't think he's going to take the Horford approach of taking that many nights off, but I do think you'll see him rest a little bit more than usual. But we'll see. Maybe he's just an Iron Man. Thanks, Jake. Next one From RJ, Summer League or Summer Celtics keep Call of Duty champion on the couch. Even in folks, this is after the Lakers game. Just finished up the Celtics taking down the Lakers 88-74. Some quick takes. NBA TV was hyping up Ronnie James so hard this game with the Lakers a close second. And the young man looks less prepared than as a 19-year-old than Jordan Walsh did last year. Maybe he'll have an NBA career, but he should not be on the end of the LA bench this season. JD Davison got to show his chops at running an offense and game management and did pretty darn good. 9 points, 3 boards, 7 assists was my favorite when he dished to Drew Peterson at the 3:33 mark in the fourth quarter to push the Celtics back up to a 13-point margin. Jalen House got some run when Davison left with an injury and showed he is just as quick as his dad. He'll need some time, but he's got PG skills. Jordan Walsh looked better tonight on defense, and while his offense was still off 4 of 12, 0 5 from 3, he still showed some flashes of JB's inside game with 2 baskets in the fourth. Maybe not that, maybe not that much praise. Props to him for having the confidence to execute them. Nemi did Nemi things: 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 4 fouls. Looked better out there and definitely benefited from Davison running lobs for him. Shyman is still looking for a shot, but he made a good impression when he dove into the stands to save a ball. Anton Watson got 26 minutes and put up 7-7. He even took a 3, took 9 the next game. Jamias Ramsey and Drew Peterson were the second and third leading scorers, but Peterson looked more complete. Ramsey can certainly score, but when he was tasked with running the offense, he was easily pressured. Win is always appreciated, and a win against the Lakers even more so, even in the summer months. Be well, RJ. Yeah, good win against the Lakers. We covered it. Any other thoughts? I mean, I think we covered the game a couple days ago. But
yeah, I mean, very funny. Good subject header for this one, RJ. Made me laugh.
Shout out. Beat Grant in the Call of Duty Championship. Tough. Can't win. Joe Abbey, Heat and Laker recap. Hey, fellas, really impressed with our guys at Summer League in the last 2 games. Springer is legit. Definitely made some offensive strides. I can see him as a defensive PP/special teamer. Peterson looks like he can take one more year on a 2-way deal and join the big squad in a sphere role next year. Cato looks incredible, ready to take the backup 5 spot for KP minutes. Walsh definitely needs another year or 2 in the G League, just running a proper NBA offense and learning to be a role player, but defensive instincts are for real. Baylor is basically Joe Ingles, which is a fantastic pickup for the Celtics as he's able to initiate plays and find guys much better than I thought. One thing with him that's hilarious is that he's a good shooter, but the misses are almost air balls or front rim. Davison, I think, has earned another 2-way, if not for nothing, to audition for a spot in the league. I think he deserves it somewhere. Watson is basically a G League version of Horford, and I'm excited for him to develop into a super solid backup 5. Still think that roster spot is going to stay open, and if Brissett is still a free agent, maybe closer to training camp, maybe he gets a vet min. Svi is likely gone with Baylor, so hope he finds an opportunity in Europe for that bag, and we get Derek White in Ukraine vlog. Slander, Anthony Edwards is the real Kobe Glazer watching Australia Team USA. I saw this man take 10 contested pull-up middies, waving off multiple open men. Him and Tatum do have a really encouraging 2-man game, and Tatum is now playing like he's 6'10" instead of a brain damaged vegan Curry. So it works as a pseudo guard big duo. Embiid is still hot. 2:30 a.m. Salmonella riddled Fenway Street meat ass, and Kerr benching him is deserved. One thing to remember with him, though, is that he never played Euro/FIBA ball, so he's got a very American play style that he'll have to adjust to. Bronny is also hot ass, and JB cooking him in the stands is indicative of how the league sees that Nepo baby. He'll be targeted by everyone in both NBA and G League to get back at him. P.S. It's 90 degrees in Boston with 80% humidity, and I'm jealous of the dry heat in Vegas. This is awful. Have fun, Joe. Don't be jealous of the Vegas heat. The Vegas heat was terrible.
It was that bad.
It wasn't that bad for some days, but some days it was like
that first day when we got out of the terminal and we went outside. I don't think we were ready for it. It was like, whew, what did we just walk into?
The day that we were going to the second Celtics G League or the second Celtics game, like when you and Bobby got breakfast, like across from me, Bobby and Noah, that day was the worst. Like I remember Bobby walked to the arena from where we were.
Walk to the arena too.
We didn't. We walked to the grocery store, then Ubered from there because the grocery store was like across the street. But Bobby Manning walked to the arena. He's a psycho. It was terrible. That's like a 20-25 minute walk. Awful.
I looked up on my phone because I thought you guys were also walking.
No, couldn't be me.
Thanks, Joe. Great email, Joe. Made me laugh. We saw Svi up close.
We did. Said hello.
Hanging out in Vegas.
Shout out Svi. Cool guy.
Who is Davison's dad that RJ mentioned?
Davison's dad?
Yeah, he said like he's showing quickness just like his dad.
That was about Jalen House.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah.
Completely had
Mhm.
dyslexia with the levels of that email.
Yeah, that was about Jalen House. Thanks, Joe. Next email. RJ again, some things are true in summer too. Afternoon, folks. Summer Celtics got another dose of NBA TV love as they called a Charlotte game most of the afternoon. Didn't matter though, as the Las Vegas Lobster Lads pulled out the 89-84 win. People will cite Watson, deservedly so, and Ramsey for making the big difference in the game, but the C's 2 point guards held it together, in my opinion. Davison and House posted a combined 16, 8, and 6, with House posting a positive plus minus while running the offense in the fourth quarter. Enaruna and Cook got some minutes today and both did their best to contribute, even if they didn't look consistently sharp. Sharman also had absolutely no shot in the first 3 quarters, but kept trying to contribute, ending with 12, 6, and 2 stat line plus 2 steals. Winning makes everything pretty, so today was a pretty win. Be well, RJ. The weird thing, Shireman is very clearly like a good shooter because he shot well in college and the track record. He doesn't look like a good shooter when he shoots. He looks like a volume shooter who gets hot every once in a while. Like that's what it looks like. I know he's beneficent, so like everything tells you from the stats to everything to his form that he's just going to be a good consistent shooter and will probably be fine off the catch. But the way he's played in summer league makes him look like I don't think he is this, but it makes him look more like of a J.R. Smith and a Seth Curry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like volume guy who gets hot. I don't think that's what he'll be in the NBA, but the way he's played in summer league so far is like screams that rather than the latter.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, I do think he has the skill set of a shooter. I mean, you mentioned everything
He
up
does.
till the form. His off-ball movement is really good too. Anytime
Yes.
we've watched him in the summer league, he does a great job of relocating, getting to the open spot, and even shooting right off the catch. Like some of his makes have been difficult makes, and I think you are right. Like the evidence shows, like he kind of gets he's been streaky so far. He hasn't been super consistent. I think nerves have something to do with it. Obviously, being a guy who played 5 years of college ball, and now you're finally getting a chance to play on a bigger stage, even though he was in the Big East last year. He wasn't in some small conference. Like this is essentially your dream, and it's the first step towards the full-time part of his dream, which is playing in the real NBA instead of just the summer league. I think he's got a little nerves, and I think we see it. I think that's what plays into the streakiness, not so much like more of a overall game characteristic trait. That makes sense.
Gotcha. No, yeah. I agree. I like I said, I think he'll be fine at the NBA level. It's just interesting to see the way he's shot in summer league so far. Excuse me. Last email from Pete. Latvian singing video. Let's go. Latvian singing video. Hey, gents. Not certain whether you're still on the road, but just in case, I'm giving you a YouTube link for one of our more impactful songs. If you're doing this live on a podcast, I suggest starting around the 4:30 to catch the powerful finale. The place is Roy Thompson Hall in Toronto, and our choir had about 1,000 people in it. Oh my God. There's Pete. Look at him. Shout out Pete. My sister Helen was also there on the soprano side of things. I was doing my very best at second tenor. I was a tenor. Shout out tenors. You'll note that I'm not wearing my glasses, which is why I look even more clueless than normal. Helen and I both ended up getting COVID, as did many of our co-participants. But now that I'm all better, I'd still do it again. As always, be well. RJ, that threw me off via Pete. That makes me laugh. I'm absolutely watching this video. Let me see. All right. Can you
that whole section of the place is choir.
Yeah. So up here are too. You see up here?
That's what I mean.
Oh yeah. I see what you hear it right. You can hear?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We don't have to listen to the whole thing, but I want to listen to a little and then the end. I want to find Pete.
Good luck. You might as well play Where's Waldo.
It shouldn't be that hard. I think he's up top in one of the things. Pete, next email, you got to tell us where you were.
Is that him top row middle in the black, in the white? I don't know. I can't really describe it to you.
I think he's
like back right of the top row, I think.
Probably, yeah. Nowhere else in the Celtics universe will you get
No.
Latvian choirs.
You certainly don't.
Oh my God, this is sick. All right.
I think it's really cool how many of them there are.
I know,
That makes
dude.
it way better.
All right, where's the finale? 4:30. Let's go. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but I want to watch the finale. Let's go, Pete. Yeah. That rocks. That's so fun. I love that a lot. Shout out, Pete. Thank you for sharing. I love the choirs. Always send the choirs. It makes me happy.
Absolutely.
As a former choir guy.
W.
Hell yeah. All right, let's go to the NBA section here. Lauri Markkanen's trade value. Back to NBA. Basketball talk is crazy. So this was reported by Shams Charania of The Athletic. Maybe soon not to be The Athletic, but for now, still The Athletic.
Wait, what happened with that?
He's a free agent this summer.
He's a free agent?
He's a free agent. And Amazon Prime and NBC are looking to rack up the price. They're looking to pay.
I did not know that.
Mm. It was reported by somebody, I forget where. Let me. I'm just gonna put in Shams Prime NBC. And
this is a bigger story than anything in the NBA section.
Yeah. I wonder where I can see. I want to see Shams free agent. Yeah, the New York Post posted about it. Shams, a looming free agent. His deals with the Athletic Stadium and FanDuel are up soon, and I saw something that NBC and Amazon could pay because they're going to be getting the, you know what I'm saying, the thing. So
I feel like NBC might be a big player in this. If you're the Athletic, you're shaking though. That's really bad for you if you're the Athletic.
Very bad. But anyways, Lauri Markkanen, Shams reported that the Jazz are prioritizing, ready for this, Brandon Pajemski, 3 first-round picks, 3 or 4 unprotected pick swaps, and 3 or 4 second-round picks in trade talks with the Warriors. So if you want, we're curious to see what the Jazz's trade value for Lauri Markkanen was. It's insane. What a wild thing. I mean, I guess if you're the Jazz, you have no reason, like you don't need to get rid of Markkanen, so that's still insane.
But Markkanen is like, I don't know. He's not that good. That's for sure. Golden State likes pods a lot. That's everything like being reported everywhere. The organization, people within it are huge fans of pods from the top down. I do not see a world where they trade him in a mega trade with a bunch of first-round picks for Lauri Markkanen. It just doesn't sound like it's going to happen. I don't care what the repercussions are of like letting Clay walk. None of it is going to be worth just giving up probably the one player you're super, well, I guess Kuminga too, like super confident about going forward for Lauri Markkanen, who's 27 on an expiring contract that you're probably going to have to overpay on an extension.
Yeah, I will say now, this is coming from a guy who thinks pods is in like nuts. Like I think pods is really, 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 really good. People get obscenely overreactionary after good rookie seasons. I think that's a very common trend. Like remember Walker Kessler 2 years ago, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's better than Rudy." Like he's not. Like he's on the trade block this season. Like people get way too like, "Oh wow, yeah. Look at this guy's next. This guy's next." Like, but I think Pods could be great. I think he's got like one-time All-Star potential. Like one-time, two-time, like that fringe All-Star. Like I think he can be really good. I don't think he's like this. He's going to be a top 2 player on a championship. You know what I'm saying? Like he's nothing insane, but that's
he's a solid player.
I still wouldn't trade him in this deal.
The weird, but I think with your point is people get real excited about like role player rookies, and then that's essentially like what they're going to be. Like Walker Kessler, defensive type guy, rim protector, rebounder, but not really going to give you a whole lot beyond that. Like he's almost like the Gobert build. Yeah, like that's going to be a plateau. Pods, little bit more skilled, but still like little raw to get excited about. I don't know. I think they do have somebody that they like, somebody that can play within their system and has shown it, so they're going to stick with it. They probably feel like to some degree he can try and fill the shoes that Clay left.
Yeah. I mean, I think Pod's going to play a huge role. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I wouldn't trade it for Lauri. Markkanen's trade value, though. I get why the Jazz are putting it that high. Next thing, small thing. Nets and Grizzlies made a trade. Grizzlies trade Ziaire Williams, to the Brooklyn Nets for, I think, I'm going to get it wrong. Amadi Diakate? Was it him? I need to go double check. But basically, Grizzlies dumping Ziaire Williams. Yeah, I was right. So it's Ziaire Williams in a 20-30 second to the Nets for Mamadi Diakate. Basically a salary dump. Nets will also send the Grizzlies draft rights to Nemanja Dingubic. Just nothingness. Basically, the Nets get to take a flyer on Ziaire Williams because they're in the middle of a rebuild, and the Grizzlies dump him. That said, the context of this conversation is more Nets are in a rebuild. Who else is getting traded? Cam Johnson's the biggest one. And where does Cam Johnson end up? Because like people have an opportunity to make a splash because Cam Johnson's a damn good player. So I'm curious to see what happens there.
I wonder where he would end up. I mean, the Nets are clearly just going all in on the rebuild, like you mentioned. They're just trying to compile as many draft picks as they can to recoup the vacancy, void, whatever you want to call it, that they happen to have after trading for James Harden and trading for Kevin Durant. Now they've got to just kind of go all in on it. But with Cam Johnson, which team has the money to go get him and needs that type of player? Thinking about it off the top of my head, OKC has less money now because they signed Hardenstein. So they lost a good deal of their cap. Do the Pacers have money? Would they even need him?
I don't think they definitely could need him. I think they don't have money, but they have guys they could probably trade if they wanted to. Because Cam Johnson doesn't make an insane amount of money. He makes like 20 mil. So like He is or 23.6 actually. It's more than that, but still like a tradable contract for a quality player. The Thunder. Let me see here. Thunder would have to do where the Thunder? Lou Dort, which maybe you don't think is worth it. Probably not worth it. Pacers could get there with like Obi Toppin and excuse me, sorry, I couldn't mute in time. Jarris Walker, but they'd have to wait till a little bit in the future because Obi Toppin was just re-signed. Maybe if you're the Bucks, you want to get something done with a Brook Lopez trade, send him back to Brooklyn. If you want to play more, wing heavy Giannis at center, like that could be intriguing. Cam Johnson would be a good piece there. Maybe you do like, I guess they can't aggregate in a trade because they're over the salary line. So it would just have to be Lopez for Cam Johnson. I don't even think that'd be legal because Johnson makes more than Brook Lopez. So maybe the Bucks are out. The Mavs could probably still pull something off if they wanted to. Like you could do Maxi Kleber and stuff for him and get something there. And then you'd really be having an interesting lineup. You'd have Clay, Luka,
far better shooting lineup than you used to have.
Luka, Kyrie, Clay, Cam Johnson, Derek Lively. Like that'd be pretty damn good. Who else could do it? The Knicks could probably still do it.
Nets trade with the Knicks again would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be though. It'd have to be Julius, and I don't think they'd want to do that. I think we've gotten to the point in Julius discourse where people are underrating Julius Randle's impact on the Knicks, with everybody that they have in place now. Who else? The Heat could probably do it if they wanted to, if they could put the pieces together. The Magic. Could the Magic do it? That'd be interesting. I don't know if they'd want to, though, if they want to go that all in. The Cavs could probably do it if they wanted to. That'd be fun. That'd be an interesting fit. The Timberwolves probably couldn't put anything together. The Nuggets probably couldn't put much together. The Suns would have to trade Bradley Beal. Maybe
Can they even
if you're
trade back for him? Can you do that, or does there have to be a third
yeah,
team
it has to
between-
be. It just can't be in the same league year.
I see. Perfect.
Your Pistons could probably do something if they wanted to.
It's not time yet. Not time to move yet. You gotta. This is like a good year for like evaluation. Then you kind of decide who you want to keep going forward. You go in on those guys. You consolidate the rest, and maybe get in players you think fit.
I wonder if the Nets would be interested in. Here's Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith. Give us Brandon Ingram and picks. Then you flip Brandon Ingram midway through the season for more picks. It would depend on like how confident they were that they could do that, which I think would be easier at the deadline, just because people are like, all right, let's at least get him for the stretch run. The price is going to go down anyways.
Fair. I was gonna say who's gonna go in on him, but yeah, it makes more sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
We need one more guy to help us push for a title, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
I can see it. I was initially going to be like, well, I just don't think he wants to pay for an extension after this season.
Exactly. Lakers. Always.
Everyone's
forever.
going to Lakers.
Yeah, forever. Kings. I like the Kings for Cam Johnson. I'm just going to list. You see how many teams I'm in me. The point is a lot of teams could trade for Cam Johnson. Also weird the Nets extended Nick Claxton because he's now making $25 a year. Probably a tradable contract, but like I guess you couldn't lose him for nothing, so you had to extend him. But did they trade him this season? I think is the next question. We'll see. Nets are just in a very interesting space where they can kind of go in every direction possible.
It's time for them to rebuild. Cooper Flagg.
Clearly. Next thing is Alex Sarr a bust, Sam. So Alex Sarr has been real bad at Summer League. He has been probably the worst player, or one of the worst players in Summer League. At least in terms of efficiency. So far in Summer League, Alex Sarr has shot through 4 games, 9 of 47 from the field, which is 19%, and 2 of 7 from 3, which is 12%. He's averaging 5.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists, but he's got 2.5 blocks. Like he has been okay at everything except offense. Like he's been pretty good at everything except scoring, which is fine.
Like that was the billing going in.
But,
like if you look at the, I mean, the percentages were not quite this bad in Australia.
Yeah, people expect it to be bad,
scorer.
but not this though. And like if you're doing this against Summer League competition, what's going to happen in the NBA? And it makes matters worse because Reed Shepherd was 1 pick later, and Reed Shepherd has been like fucking incredible at Summer League. Through Reed Shepherd's first 3 Summer League games, he's averaging 20 points, 4.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 3.0 steals, and 1.3 blocks on 49, 38.5 shooting as a 6'3" guard. Would be pretty cool to have that on your roster. But yeah,
it's real bad. Like, oddly enough, Jack, what I'm visualizing in my head is the horses. I'm thinking about like the race for worst Summer League guy, and it was like Sarr and Bronny, which is real bad if you're like the number 2 pick, and then Bronny like tailed off, so Sarr's just running away with it now. Like, dude has been dreadful. The numbers are brutal. It's not what you want to see if you're the Wizards after missing out last year on Wemby in the lottery. Obviously, everybody was there hoping to get him. Then you end up being putrid this year. You have this Jordan Poole trade. It really doesn't work out because he just looks like a dickhead every time he's on the court. And now you've drafted this guy.
Oh, Sam Wi-Fi's back. Let's go. Welcome back. If you're hearing this, welcome back. Never mind. Hi, you're back.
I wish I want to snap something.
I pulled up rookie leaders for Summer League. Alex Sarr in scoring for Summer League is 66th among rookies. Probably
That's
not
bad.
what you want from the second overall pick.
Considering there's only 60 players in the fucking draft, that's awful.
And let me add the context of this is qualified rookies. So this is rookies who have played the minutes to qualify for the real GM stats. And he's 66. If I take off qualified and just go any rookie who has played at all, even if it's 1 game and they scored more than that, Alex Sarr is 71st in rookies for scoring. Probably not great. And among qualified rookies, field goal percentage, he is 87th, second to last. He has the second worst field goal percentage among rookies in Summer League. The last place is Tristan Newton. So sorry, UConn. But probably not great. And Donovan Clingan is 87th or 82nd, I mean. So also not great for him, but at least he scored a little bit more. Not a good start for Alex Sarr. Not a good start for Alex Sarr. I will say, looking at some of the rookies, we can do a rookie Summer League check-in briefly. Manas Buzelis is actually leading the rookies qualified in scoring. He's not very efficient, but he's averaging 20 a game, which is fun. Reed Shepard, obviously, I read his stats. He's been incredible. He's actually played 4 games now, so his stats have just stayed just as insane. Tristan Da Silva for the Magic has been nuts.
He's a good player.
17-7 on 61-59 shooting splits right now. He's on fire. Trey Alexander has been really good for the Nuggets. 4 games, 17 points, 47 from the field, 40 from 3. 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's Baylor Shireman's college teammate. He played guard at Creighton, and now he's fighting for a spot, and he looks like he's probably going to get one. Ron Holland only played in 2 games, but he was all right. Vitch's very inefficient. The Wizards at least got one right because Bub Carrington's been awesome. He's been 16.5 points, really inefficient from 2, but he's shooting 41% from 3 on 8 attempts, so that's a good thing. 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists. No, he's only shooting 32% from the field, but 41% from 3. So not not ideal. He's like averaging 1.2 of 6 from 2 per game, so that's not great, but he's like super, super, super young. Like he is the youngest rookie in the class, I think, or one of them. So he'll be okay. Our guy, AJ Johnson, has been playing well. Zachary Sachet has been okay, just inefficient. Johnny Furphy's been good. But yeah, Tyler Kolek is leading Summer League in assists.
There you go. Rhode Island.
And for as bad as Clingan has been scoring, he's averaged 12.3 rebounds and 4.3 blocks a game. So he's been at least
just massive
game elsewhere.
We got to see him play in person,
human.
and he is a behemoth in the paint. Just
he's huge,
significantly larger than everybody, both in height and just kind of like muscle / mass. Like he's just kind of tough to move around. He has like a Jokic body, but he's definitely strong. Don't worry.
He's a big boy. Last quick NBA thing. You mentioned Cooper Flagg at the start of the show. And that was because I forgot to take that he beat TBSA in the scrimmages. But I did think this is an interesting conversation regardless. I really have, like, there's no clear, Cooper Flagg's going to this team. Like, when Wemby was it, you could point to, like, 4 or 5 teams. You're like, okay, it'll probably be one of these. When, last year first, you could say, it'll be one of these teams. But then the Hawks jumped up. Like, what is it? Like, Nets and Blazers are really the only, like, these guys are probably going to be really, really, really bad. Like, the Hornets could jump up a little bit. They've got potential. The Pistons could jump up a little bit. They got something. Like, the Raptors at least have a little bit of talent. The Wizards are going to be bad, so throw them into that mix with the other teams. But, like, no one in the West is trying to lose outside of Portland. Like, the East wants to get better, like, outside of the Wizards and Nets. Like, how crazy would it be if, like, the Raptors have a bad season and just miss out, and then they win the lottery? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is one of the most intriguing draft lottery years in a while.
Yeah, for sure. With Cooper Flagg being there is such a highly touted prospect, you're always going to have some extra excitement. Now, what I have just done, I have opened up recent year NBA standings just to take a look at which teams were probably worse than we all thought they would be. And really, I feel like it's usually just the 11 seeds. All the rest of these bottom teams going into the season, like, were meant to be bad. Like 22-23, if it would load. You had in the bottom 5 in the East, Pacers, Wizards, Magic, Hornets, Pistons. I don't think anybody thought any of those teams would be good. Granted, these are different types of seasons where the talent seems to be less all around the league. The West, Dallas probably wasn't as good as you thought they would have been. Utah had a weird start where they were kind of good. Portland, Dame got hurt, so they ended up down there. Houston and San Antonio, both just unbelievably bad. Everybody knew it. And then this year, going into the year, it was kind of hard to pick teams that we thought were bad because there were so many avenues where you could see certain teams being better. Like Portland was like, oh, they just got Scoot. And then they traded these guys. They traded Dame away and they got these guys back that are kind of young and fun. Like, what's Ayton going to do is the main guy. They won 21 games. The Spurs with Wemby. Is Wemby going to make a difference for them? He probably did towards the end of the year because they were 6-4 in the final 10. But 22 wins isn't it. Memphis, everybody gets hurt. Surprise team in the lottery. Utah and Houston. Houston was a team maybe you could have thought would have taken a step, but Utah didn't do much between 22 and 23 to earn that. And then the East was just kind of a mess. Brooklyn, Toronto, ass. Hornets, Wizards, Pistons, super ass. Even though the Pistons are not a 14-win team. Like, they're probably better than that.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like a year where so many different teams could be bad. Like, what if there's a team that gets really hurt like the Grizzlies did last year and just end up with, you know what I'm saying, ends up with Cooper Flagg. Like, I think it's going to be interesting. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Ratless time, Sam. Would you like to kick it off? I know you've had a less than stellar day.
Ratless, this fucking hacker group. What are they called? You don't know because you didn't know about this coming in. Some hacker group shut down like all of Microsoft today or yesterday. And it caused every fucking flight to be canceled. So I woke up this morning to an email that my flight to Greece on Saturday is canceled. So I had to go through all these hoops. First, I didn't know if I was going to be going or not. Because there's always that element to it. Do you know if you're going to cancel your entire trip? What if there's not flights going forward? Who knows how long this is going to last? Go through, take some steps, find out. I can go on Sunday. Had to break the news to the lady.
You didn't have to pay anything extra, right?
No.
Did they give you shit back? Like, did they, or were they
No.
just like, here? They should give you something after that. They should like say, we're sorry we got hacked. We're fucking idiots. And then, but anyways.
So anyways, lady had an exam today. So I couldn't tell her before the exam that this happened because she has to focus. I can't be like, oh, hey, here's this extra thing to keep in your head. Yeah. So I was stressed about that. And then I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to cancel everything. Thankfully, my mom, who works for the airline, was able to help out. We figured it all out. But what a fucking day it's been. All the plans are out the window. So much extra stress added. All for naught. Man, fuck the stupid hackers. You got nothing going on? You got to hack Delta and Microsoft?
Evidently so.
What a mess.
I already told Sam the story, but it's too funny not to tell on here, even though it's really embarrassing for me. So Sam has learned this about me so far. I like to chew on things. Like I will have like a sweatshirt string in my mouth or whatever, or like a straw. And so I had a straw and I was chewing on it. And I just had it like this, like I treated it like a toothpick effectively, just because I'm like an idiot. And I was leaning forward to grab something and the straw got caught or like hit something on my desk. It just fucking jammed me in the back of the throat.
Pretty funny.
Completely, very funny.
Funny way to get hurt.
Really, really, really painful. Jammed the shit out of my throat. Cut me like I was bleeding. Like I can, it feels like, do you know the feeling when there's like a hair in your mouth or the back of your throat?
Yeah.
It feels like that right now because my gum or my like whatever it's called back there is cut. And so it's like dangling a little bit. So it feels like there's something back there, but I can't clear my throat because it's attached to my mouth. It's very awful. Painful. Throat hurts. Not a good time, but my own fault. So funny story, but just
is it better than it was yesterday?
Yes, I feel better now, but it's still very red. Still not ideal.
Ratless, this old fucking computer. So then after the fiasco I had this morning, trying to figure everything out, we obviously have to do some recording because both of us are doing things this weekend. And I'm like, let's just take care of this now. It'll be easy to get over with. Let's take care of it. Jack's like, okay. Jack loads up. Oh, my computer won't turn on. It must have taken me like 10, 15 minutes to get this thing to turn on. I had to unplug everything. I have a camera. I have a mic. I have an HDMI cable. I have the power cord. I have my Ethernet that gets unplugged and replugged anytime the internet decides it would like to work. Had to unplug all of that, pull the thing away. I believe my Xbox controller wire got caught in everything, so it still pulled everything. Then once I unplug it, all of a sudden it wants to turn on. What sense does that make? You no longer have the power source. Now you're going to turn on? You can't turn on when I'm spamming the power button on the computer when it's plugged in? Just an unbelievable shit show of a day today. Miserable.
Less than ideal. Ratless Henry. Now, I was asked to preface this.
Get behind.
I was asked to preface this with I am not mad, and I'm not mad. Truly, like it doesn't matter. It's just a funny story that I wanted to tell the Ratless. So I love you, Henry. Not mad, but I'm getting home from the airport 2 days ago. And I'm on the bus back to Braintree, and I get a call, and it's Henry. He goes, "Can I call you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'm on the bus. What's up?" He calls me, and he goes, "So Jack," and I could tell he's like upset. I'm like, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?" And he goes, "I was driving your car. I was backing into the driveway, and I hit the gas too fast, and I ran into a pole." So he's like, "It didn't break anything too bad, but your bumper's a little dented." I'm like,
is Jack the biggest loser of Henry getting his license?
Perhaps I might be, but I was like, when he said I was in your car, I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, I'm thinking like this dude fucking got in a car wreck, but the car, it's not bad. It's just like my bumper's a little dented. It's not, and when I say dented, it's not even like, oh my god, it's caved in. It's like there's just like a little crack in it. Like it's nothing crazy. And it truly doesn't matter. Like the car still works fine. None of the glass, none of the mirrors broke, none of the like lights broke. So it doesn't matter at all. But it was just I hit the gas too hard when I was backing in. And my response wanted to be, "Why are you pressing the gas when you're backing in? Like the car moves for you. Like, you don't you need to press the brake when you back in. Like what do you mean you press the gas too hard?"
Done anything for like a driver cam of Henry when he hit the pole. Just the look on his
I will
face.
say our driveway is a pain in the ass to back into, just because it's on like there's a main road, and so if you're backing in, you have to be in the road, and cars just like zoom past, and there's like bends on either side, so they can't see you, so they're slow down and shit. And so it is like, fuck, I see a car coming, I gotta go, like I gotta get out of the way, or it's like it's not a fun thing. But especially for somebody who just gets your license, and Henry doesn't like backing in places, for understandably so now. But yeah, just tough.
Henry's a dog, clearly. Not a good driver. I feel like if you I would have predicted that Henry would be a bad driver.
He's not a bad driver. He's not. Like truly.
How many
I've driven with him
accidents have
before.
you been in?
One.
How many times have you backed into a pole?
Never. But he, like, in general, he is like a fine driver. But this was not one of those times.
It's yet to be seen.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an accident?
Yeah.
Really? Was it your
Somebody
fault?
drove right into me. No.
Oh. I've been in one.
They pulled out of like a parking lot where essentially they have to turn across a lane.
You told me this. Yeah.
He just like drove straight into me. I was beeping at him. He just head-on collision to me. It was unbelievable.
I've been in one, and it was my fault. I was in the Dunkin' drive-through, and the car in front of me started like inching forward. I'm like, oh, okay, it must be time. And I like looked down at my phone, or I did something, and apparently they were just moving a little closer to the car in front of them, which is like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
but
do it, but it is pointless.
I like tapped the back of their car, and he was fine eventually, but he was kind of like whack. He was like, "You broke my backup camera." I'm like, "You drive very expensive SUV. I drive a 2010 Nissan that is very low to the ground. My car doesn't even reach your backup camera. So I absolutely did not break your backup camera, but whatever." And then nothing ever came of it. I didn't even damage his car at all. Like, it was whatever. But yeah, not fun. That was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Anyways.
The only time I've ever gotten in an accident is people just drive into me. There was that guy. There was somebody in one of the garages near the garden, just drove into me. Then somebody in the high school parking lot just backed into my car.
Oh, I have backed into something before. It was just a wall, but it wasn't like an issue. I was just in a parking garage going to a Celtics game, I think this year, and I just like backed up too far or something, and I just hit the wall behind me like lightly, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And it was like,
That shit'll scare that'll get
it
you.
it did, because I didn't realize I was that close, and I just kept going because I'm stupid. I don't know. You got anything else? I got good things, so if we want to close with my good things, we can. I have great things.
I'll segue for you. Ratless, the college football 25 AI. So, as one does, upon returning from Vegas, I've played a ton of college football 25, as most of America has this week.
Me too.
And playing the career mode, the dynasty mode, where you're the coach of the team, the more you play games, the better the computer gets. It adapts to you. I just can't fucking score. I gotta be like the worst ever, like 14th ranked team in the country, where like not in terms of like the talent on my team, but the amount of fear that I strike into the hearts of opponents, because I gotta be the best 3-and-out guy of all time. Just getting sacked. The offensive line can't block for shit. None of my receivers are open. Yeah, but my team's good.
Yeah, you're right. I'm UMass. I'm not good.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I picked BC, and I was like, okay, let's do this. They're in a decent conference. And
that said, simultaneously, anti-Ratless college football, great game. Great game.
Tons of fun. Can't believe I'm not going to play it for a while.
Anti-Ratless Noah Khan concert went last night. I cried. Fucking electric.
You cried?
Yeah. Of course, all night. The whole time.
Cry for?
Sick. It was just, it was awesome. Like happiness. It was all fucking. It was it was the best. It was the most fun I've had. Like,
is that a thing? Do people cry at concerts? Comments.
Yes.
Tell me if you cry at concerts.
Well, I mean,
I get
not this.
I'm just
people,
trying to like. I'm not even trying to make fun of you. I'm trying to associate it with like happy crying, and I'm like, I don't know
you
what
cried
would
when the
trigger
Celtics won a championship.
Yeah, but that's different because that's like
it's not. It's
let me
something
explain
you.
it.
But it's the point is, it's something you very much care about and loved for a long time. This is something I very much care about and have loved for a long time. And it was great to see it and happen in person and like be a part of it with like 30,000 other people singing the same thing. Like, it's just a very fun experience. And so it was like,
I suppose it could be moving. I just think about like the Celtics are different because that's like a competition. Like, we've been waiting a long time to watch that.
That's the part that made you cry. Not because it's a competition, because it's something you've waited a long time for that means something a lot. That means a lot to you. It means a lot to you. Like, I love his music. No.
Okay.
It means a lot to me. And there's also one song, like before the concert, my sister turned to me, like she goes, "You're moving out. I'm going to miss you." And there, like, he has one song about that. Like the lyrics.
Okay.
Very sad.
Very
so I was
fair.
with my sister.
Fair.
It was.
I told you, I'm not trying to make. I was just trying to.
I know. I'm just explaining. It was fucking incredible. And he's like, I know you don't like know Noah Khan, but he is from Vermont. Like, he's from the area or something.
He's a New England
and
person.
This was his first time like performing at Fenway, and so there's a lot of lyrics that like say Boston or like talk about being from the area, and so like just with like 30,000 people like screaming those lyrics are like fucking sick. Very, very cool. So that was awesome. He also like got up on the Green Monster and like sang up there for a couple songs, which was really, he gets up there, he goes, "I'm so fucking scared right now." And then he did some songs up there. It was very fun. Really cool. He's also just like super funny. Like he's very much just like a normal guy, and he's like awkward. And he goes, "This is the part of the show where they switch my sets and they make me talk in the microphone. What the fuck do they want me to say? I don't know. Fucking know what they want from me right now. I don't know what to do." It was a great experience. He's awesome. I had a lot of fun. Shout out Noah Khan. Dude rocks. That's all I got.
I think I had like one more thing, but I don't. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Fenway Park, I've only been to concerts at Fenway Park.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And it was when I was like young and my parents would go. Never concerts I really wanted to go to. The only regret I have show-wise is I didn't see Bill Burr at Fenway Park a couple years ago, and that's a massive regret. I didn't want to go on a Sunday night before working early at the news on Monday, and I regret it. Would have been a blast.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun one. What concerts did you see when you were a kid?
So they did Neil Diamond. They did
okay.
The New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys. My mom's friend wanted to go or something, so we all had to go.
Sure.
It ruined concerts for me for a long time. Still haven't been back.
No, Con rocked. Very fun. Very fun. That's all I got, though. You good?
I'm good.
Alrighty. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube, and follow us on Spotify and Apple. And I'll Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. Coming at you with content at 5 a.m., whether it's pods Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Game recaps the morning after each game, or other videos in between. We've got you covered. Celtics cravings, Celtics, whatever. You're covered for the summer. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. All of our pods and game recaps will be there for you. So if you follow, they go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. More and more of you are starting to do so. We appreciate everybody getting in on the fun. I think we had 4 emails from 5 people today. 5 emails from 4 people today. Pretty good. So yeah, hbtcpod@gmail.com is the way to get in touch with us. The socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. Our streams are there. They're on YouTube and they're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jackson1NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.